And welcome into Game Day Preview. I'm Julian Minnesota alongside Corey Curtis, talking Tennessee, talking Vanderbilt. Big week for both teams as it is, the next game, as the coaches say, the next game is always the most important. Tennessee's got UAB on the schedule. Vanderbilt's got Georgia State. We're going to start with the Vols, though.
Okay, it's a hangover game for both of them.
Yeah.
Can you avoid the hangover?
Yeah. Of course, Tennessee coming off of the 44-41 heartbreaking loss to Georgia. It seemed multiple times that Tennessee had that game in the bag, but ultimately the Bulldogs won their 9th straight game over the Vols, and this one came at Neyland Stadium in front of the College Game Day crew, in front of a sold-out crowd. Tough one to swallow if you're Josh Heupel and the crew, and he kind of wants them to soak in that disappointment.
Yeah,
this
he
week.
did. He's like, we need to know how this feels because, it's one of my favorite sayings is stealing defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah,
because that's absolutely what they did. They gave one away. They gave it away. I mean, they had multiple opportunities to just win the game. The last of which was kick the ball through the uprights. Which I'm sorry, I'm not going to let him off the hook. That's his only job. That's it. Okay. Kick the ball through the uprights, and they get paid now, so I can be critical. All right. So make the kick. You made the 48-yarder. You can make the 42-yarder. And if you can't deal with pressure, then go work somewhere else. All right. So, they had multiple opportunities to win that game. And those opportunities don't come by every day. For Tennessee, it hasn't come by in over 8 years. They just keep losing to Georgia now.
Yeah.
So when the door is open, walk through.
Yeah.
Walk through. And because now, if you win that game, you're position A for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now you're not. Now, you still can go. They didn't drop in the rankings, but now your next loss is amplified.
What do we say on our Sports Extra show on Sunday nights when you have the king right there, you knock him out, you check the pulse, and then you knock them out again. And you mentioned the multiple opportunities. There was the kick. He needs to hit that kick, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that. How about the 4th down? Gunnar Stockton threw over the top. You can't give up a touchdown on that play.
Nope.
And then the biggest thing to me is you scored 21 points in that first quarter. Aguilar started 14 of 14. It was a great start.
Yeah.
But then that second and third quarter, you score 7 points combined, and it allows Georgia to hang around a little bit. And you cannot let a team that's coached by Kirby Smart do that. They're too talented. You knew at that point, you knew, man, they're going to get back in this game, aren't they? And sure enough, they were close enough within striking distance where they got it done over Tennessee.
Well, I think that's what's frustrating is regardless, Georgia's going to get back in the game. They're Georgia. All right. And Tennessee responded and got the lead back. All right. You got the lead back. And then, your defense, which is, you would think, the strength of your team. And you just saw this Georgia team held to how many points by Austin Peay?
28. Yeah.
28. You had Georgia fans openly questioning Gunnar Stockton openly. All right. And now he's the toast of the town. Thanks to you.
And, the big thing when it comes to Tennessee for this week, UAB, it's a get-back game, right?
They stink, right?
They're not good. They've only scored. Well, they've scored at least 24 points in each of their first 3 games, but they're 131st nationally in defense, and that is
how many? Is it like 200 now?
It is near the bottom of the barrel there.
Yeah. It's not like they're playing tough teams.
No, but you're still 131st nationally in defense. That's pretty darn bad. So if you're Joey Aguilar and the rest of the crew, it is good to, play at least a live opponent to get back what you need to get back. What you didn't have in that second and third quarters against, it's not Georgia.
Sorry,
I get it.
I was just picturing a weekend at Bernie's football game.
Yeah. And when you're Tennessee, you're also trying to develop depth, and this could be another game to do that too.
You just slugged it out with Georgia for 4 quarters and overtime. That's going to wear on everybody. The earlier they can get their reserves into this game, the better.
Absolutely, especially like they did. What was it in week 2 against ETSU? That was one of the big things. They commented David Sanders still kind of working his way back to the offensive line. Jermon McCoy, the secondary.
Sanders is considered a freakish freshman.
Right.
They need him.
They need him, at least especially in the bulk of the SEC schedule.
Yeah.
And then Jermon McCoy, who had the ACL injury back in January, he's somebody who there's no timetable on him yet right now, according to Josh Heupel. But
considering he's probably a first-round pick, you could use that guy on the football field.
But if on the other side, your first-round pick, I ain't rushing to get back. I got my future ahead of me.
Well, you say that, but these guys are all making money now, so their future is really now too. I mean, I could get it before where a guy would be like, hey, I got to save myself for the draft. Well, I mean, look, if you're making, look, Pavia's making over $1 million. I'm sure McCoy's making good money. All right. I mean, he needs to get back out there.
UAB's defense gave up 6 touchdowns and a field goal on their first 7 drives.
Against who?
Of the season. They have played, ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
They won 52-42 to open the season against Alabama State. That's just that's a sick scoreline right there.
Alabama State, I believe, is an FCS team.
They lost to Navy 38-24, and then they just beat Akron this past week by 3.
Okay, they're the Zips for a reason. All right, they're called the Zips.
Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know.
I mean, look, they're UAB, and you need to take care of business. I've seen Tennessee struggle in the past with Georgia State. I saw Joe Milton struggle with Austin Peay. I don't know if he threw for 100 yards in that game. So there are no guarantees. They need to come out and they need to take care of business.
I will say, if you look ahead at Tennessee's schedule over these next few games, you got UAB, then you go to Mississippi State, right? And then you host Arkansas.
Those should all be easy
wins. Should be easy wins before you ultimately go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama, which at that point, who knows what Alabama's going to look like.
Kalen DeBoer could be on his death watch at that point.
And they could be looking really bad, or they could, let's see if they maybe figure something out.
That could be. You're right. You absolutely do not know. You could. I don't think it's anything in the middle. I think you're on one of two extremes there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either they're better or they're not.
I mean, you're looking at, to be honest, I'm looking at some of this Tennessee schedule right now.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, you got Kentucky. I mean, Oklahoma will be tough, but New Mexico, Florida, who, our producer Pat's a Gator, and they're
about to get massacred by Miami,
right?
And they'll be 1-3,
yeah.
And we're back on Billy Napier death watch. So I mean, that schedule, you're right, that sets up really nicely.
You talk about the playoff
for Tennessee, and again, look, you've got Alabama and Oklahoma actually looks like it's good this year.
Yeah.
And then Vanderbilt.
Ooh, buddy.
I'm telling you, man, that Vanderbilt game could be huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could mean the playoffs or not. I mean, it's just that simple. And I know Tennessee fans, scoff at that notion, but
they're for real, man.
Yeah,
they're for real.
Now, speaking of for real, we didn't see a lot from Tennessee receivers last year.
Yeah.
And I think Brazel.
Yeah, Brazel,
and Brazel, and what's the other guy's name? My mind's a walnut.
Mike Matthews.
Tonight. No, the
Staley.
other Staley.
Yeah.
Staley. They made some plays.
They are.
And I think that, when you're looking for, hey, get excited about this team, Joey Aguilar's part of it, but actually having some receivers who are making some plays again, I think that's something to really get excited about.
Chris Brazel, 364 yards already through the 3 games this season. He's been a explosive
He's a nice player.
Yeah, really nice. And then Star Thomas in the running back spot, replacing a guy like Dylan Sampson, who was the leading rusher of the team in the SEC last year.
How big is Star Thomas? He's kind of a load, isn't he?
A little bit. He's a little bit of a fire plug guy. He has 221 yards right now through these games. According to ESPN, he is listed as 6'210".
Okay, he looks bigger than that, but maybe he's just got like Walter Payton's or Earl Campbell's giant thigh pads.
I'll tell you this: he's hard to bring to the ground. That guy,
he's a nice player. He's a nice player.
And Aguilar, the explosive playability, the gunslinging ability, we knew it was there coming out of Appalachian State, but you wanted to see it against SEC opponents. And he put up pretty good numbers against Georgia. And that first quarter, 14-15, incredible stuff.
It's just amazing when you look at Joey Aguilar and Diego Pavia. I mean, these are two guys who had to go play in junior college because nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
And they have no fear. Neither one of them has no fear of anything. And I think it's fantastic. They could look in the mirror and legitimately say, do I belong here? And instead, Joey Aguilar's like, heck yeah, I belong out here. I'm going to sling this thing. I mean, I was stunned in the opener at Syracuse when they came out just slinging the rock. Because we have sitting right here, I said, they're going to run the heck out of the ball.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And it's Joey Aguilar. He's why. He showed them enough to say, we're going to put the game in his hands. We believe in him to do it.
It's crazy to think how many talented football players are out there that maybe the opportunity doesn't go their way, or maybe the circumstances are such that they never reach their full potential, like a Joey Aguilar, for example. The guy was 2 seconds away from being a fireman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you just, you have to wonder if, who's the coach at UCLA that just got fired? Deshaun Foster.
Deshaun Foster, yeah.
You have to wonder if he'd still have a job had he stuck with Joey Aguilar instead of Nico Iamaleava.
Right.
I mean, really, because Tennessee doesn't hang 40 on Georgia with Iamaleava. No way.
It might be a 40-17 game.
It's not just his ability; it's his attitude.
Yeah.
It's what he brings. We've talked about the speed, but it's the belief and it's the no fear. I mean, and I can see where. We all know that Pavia elevates his teammates at Vanderbilt. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But Aguilar is elevating this Tennessee team. They are following him. They believe in him. And they've got he scored 40 against Georgia.
Yeah.
You got to be really good to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, really quickly, wanted to get some Josh Heupel sound here where he talked about learning lessons from that Georgia game.
Yeah, there's no moral victories in this game. We're certainly long past anything like that. I think competitive makeup, competitive composure, the ability to go play the next play, that's important in big games. I thought they handled themselves well majority of the night in that. I think looking at the film today, like the ownership that each individual person has to take in the things that they can do where it's not me that allows a play to unfold. There's going to be competitive plays that you don't make, man. You're playing good competition. But it's the things that you give away in this game that hurt you.
It goes back to what we talked about at the top. Things that you give away, the woulda, the shoulda, woulda, couldas of that Georgia game, and you're looking at Tennessee in a much different light now.
Yeah, make a kick, and you're in the top 10 probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that.
I will say, after this game, though, I'd still put Tennessee as maybe one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the SEC still, just on performance.
Where did you put them on your AP ballot?
I think I had them at around 15 or 16.
So you didn't
yeah, I didn't really push them down, at least to my knowledge. No.
All right. By the way, I'm looking at the line on DraftKings. Tennessee is at minus 38.5 right now.
Yeah, I expect them to
that's
cover.
a massive number.
All right.
I think like 52-14 we could be.
Yeah,
like that.
that's. I think that's what I put in my WKRN newsletter that you could sign up for free online right now, the News 2 Playbook. Okay, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about Vanderbilt. They become the talk of the town here in Nashville with Mr. Diego Pavia leading the way, coming off that win against South Carolina when Game Day Preview returns. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Game Day Preview. Julian Minnesone, Corey Curtis here with you. Wanted to talk about Vanderbilt now, coming off a huge win, 31-7 over South Carolina on the road. Totally dominated in every aspect.
Stopped.
Yeah, absolutely mollywopped.
Mollywopped.
Yeah, mollywopped.
Is that like from Harry Potter or something?
No, I don't know. I don't know where mollywopped come from. Mollywopped, so... now they got Georgia State, a team that beat them in the final seconds last year, 36-32. That was at Georgia State. But now they welcome them into the bank here in Nashville on Saturday night. I don't expect this game to go the way that last year's went. I expect Vanderbilt to fully dominate from start to finish.
Vanderbilt is a 27.5-point favorite in this game, and I think that they probably should be. Here's my number one concern for Vanderbilt. That they try and score 7 touchdowns on every possession. Okay? They're so anxious to bury this team because they are hacked off for greatness. I mean, they are. You would think they'd be a happy football team. They are an angry football team this week because all they're thinking about is last year and losing this game. This game has been circled for them since this calendar came out.
Yeah, and usually, like we were talking about Tennessee and UAB, it's a game where you're kind of like, it's total, get by game, look it over. But this is not that for Vanderbilt.
No, the concern is they are too hyped for this game.
Yeah,
and say it's Georgia State. They don't want to be that Vanderbilt anymore. And that's a painful reminder for them of what Vanderbilt was. You losing games like Georgia State. It was unacceptable. And Clark Lee talked this week about he could see their focus on campus was not what it needed to be. And, he's a big believer in the way you live your life is what comes out on Saturday. And so, they weren't doing the things off the practice field, in the classroom, in the community. They weren't staying focused, and then they weren't focused at Georgia State, and they lost it. I watched that game. That was a terrible, terrible football game. But, all right, there's some Clark Lee sound in there, and I'm just going to tell you, he talked a lot. He did not duck the issue of how personal this game is for the Commodores.
But a year ago, I felt like there was just a lot left to be desired with respect to how we focused in the week, how we showed up and played from the start of the game, and we paid for it, and that's a steep price to pay. So that's the players are all aware of that, and we've talked about it. This is something we've talked about since January, this game, and so this is a really big one for us, and we want to play really well.
Remember the Juggernaut on X-Men?
Yeah. Juggernaut.
He kind of looks like the Juggernaut. He looks like he can still play.
Yeah, I mean, he's jacked.
He is jacked.
Yeah.
He's all sorts of jacked. But yeah, I mean, and look, Clark Lee is boring as they come. I'm not saying it to be critical, but he is. And for him to say the things that he said, that's him going out like on a limb. That's like, hey, we're angry. And there was way more to that. Okay. They're focused. And again, you worry about personal fouls. You worry about trying to do too much too fast. If I were him, I would hand the ball off on the first play.
Absolutely.
We're just going to run the ball. Everybody just line up and block and go. We'll take care of business. And we'll minister our will, and then we'll go from there.
Last year, Ted Hurst, the wide receiver, Georgia State, gashed him for 128, two touchdowns.
Back.
He is back.
Yep.
So that is going to be something to circle as far as a scouting report goes. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned avoiding the emotional penalties and stuff like that, being too amped up. This offensive line for Vanderbilt, a bunch of guys who played a lot of football before. Mm-hmm. I don't expect them to be that way. I expect them to be disciplined, given they are guys who have come from power programs. They played in big time games themselves. And so far they've proven this year that they are different than Vanderbilt's offensive line last year, just from the explosive plays alone.
Well, and the defensive line is different too, because it's deeper. And so, look, Vanderbilt used to fall into that category of the non-conference games for the SEC teams where they would get worn out by the other teams because they didn't have the strength or the depth. But now Vanderbilt is in that position where they can say, that team across from us can't match this. And we are going to push them over and push them over and push them over until they don't want to get back up again. And so this is a game where, Diego Pavia could go 10 for 15 for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Vanderbilt still scores 58 points. Okay, because I just don't think he's going to have to do it.
No, he doesn't need to be a superhero.
No, he should not have to be a superhero in this game. This should be a game where the bench gets into the game. But I think this is a game where you both guys on the line of scrimmage, offense and defense, handle your business.
I really liked what Vanderbilt's been doing with the run first kind of strategy there. They had the huge run to James L. Lassiter last game against South Carolina. And then it opens things up so much for that offensive playbook. They had 10 plays against South Carolina of 10+ yards or more. And that's crazy to think against. South Carolina's defense is darn good.
It's a first-round pick over there
Dylan
on
Stewart.
that one. Yeah.
I mean, he is a animal.
Yeah.
And they walked through them like a screen door.
I think their first game, who did they open with? Charleston
Southern.
They
yeah.
averaged 6.5 yards a carry.
Man.
And that hasn't slowed down. They can run the football, and it's the Jerry Kill effect. They don't commit penalties.
Yeah.
They don't put themselves in bad situations. We wondered about special teams last week playing Beamer in South Carolina, but we said, who's the best special teams unit in the league last year?
It was Vanderbilt.
Was it a difference on Saturday at South Carolina?
Yeah.
Nope.
Not one bit.
You know what? It's time to just say this about Vanderbilt, because we give Diego Pavia a lot of flowers, and we should, because he is the most important football player at Vanderbilt in decades, probably since Jay Cutler, right? I think that's probably the best that I can say there. This is a really well-coached football team. Clark Lee is part of it. Bringing in Jerry Kill is another big part of it. The special teams unit is great. He's turned over his defense to
Steve Gregory.
And how has he done the first 3 weeks?
Excellent.
He's doing great. And so, it's taken Clark a while, but he's got his staff where he wants it to be and needs it to be. He's got his roster starting to be, I hate to say this is as good as Vanderbilt's roster can get, because it's not. I mean, there's another. They have to decide that, though. They have to make that decision. We're going to spend that money to do that. But they may like the way victory tastes, and may say, "Well, what do you need to do the next thing?" That happens sometimes. But it's time to just say this is a really well coached football team. They're prepared. They execute. They don't commit penalties, and they don't get pushed around. And they're not afraid of anybody.
Yeah, ranked 20th in the poll right now. As we look at their schedule,
Where did you rank them?
I had them at 23.
Oh, send your hate mail to Jay Minenson at WKRN.com.
I've been getting it. I've already been getting it on all platforms, by the way, and that's okay.
When he became a voter this year, I said, "Oh, good for you. Just wait till you get those emails."
Look at this, just real quick. If you see their schedule, much different than Tennessee.
Brutal. It's brutal.
You got Georgia State, Utah State. Feel like you got to win those, because then you got Bama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn, and then Kentucky and Tennessee.
The thing is like, you don't know, like, we don't know what Alabama's going to be in 3
Yeah, that's
weeks.
going to be an interesting game.
I mean, Alabama could be Alabama, and Alabama could be, where's Kalen DeBoer? And then, what's going on with Texas? I mean, Arch Manning,
we might have crowned the kid too early.
Might have? Come on.
Well,
the whole world. And
it's
not because his name is Manning. Baloney. It was absolutely because
if it was
his
Arch
name was Manning.
Smith, we wouldn't care.
If it was Arch Smith and he was a 5-star, they would be like, hey, they've got this 5-star named Arch Smith, and they think he's going to be pretty good. Oh, cool. Can't wait to see him play. Arch Manning. Oh, my gosh. He's Cooper's son? Oh, whoa. Yeah. No, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And look, that doesn't mean that Arch Manning can't still wind up being a top 10 draft pick. It just means he's struggling right now against bad teams too. UTEP's not good.
Yeah. Real quick, Vanderbilt to win this weekend. What do you think?
27.5. Georgia State can score points.
I had 38-14 is what I have.
I'm going to go 45-17. They're going to cover by the hook.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, remember, Game Day Preview is every Wednesday here on WKRN Plus from 7 to 7:30.
8 to 8:30 Eastern, 6 to 6:30 Mountain Time.
Yes, on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, wherever you get it.
In case you're downloading us in the Western time zone, it's from 5:30 to 5.
Yeah, my parents would actually like that.
That's true. Your parents, let's say hi to the Minnesones in California.
What's going on, y'all? All right. Well, for Julian Minenson, that's Corey Curtis. Game Day Preview.
Did you say for yourself?
Yeah. From Julian Minenson?
No,
Corey?
you say from. You said for.
Oh, well, grammar police over here. Wee-woo, wee-woo. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. We'll see you on Sports Extra Daily tomorrow.